Longtime fans of this channel know I occasionally will dip my toes into the realm of humorous or meme-worthy political controversies.
Okay.
From the rise of the boot hat-wearing Vermin Supreme to the campaign misadventures of Basil Marceau, and of course the screeching downfall of Howard Dean, I've done a few of these. Well, boys, it's been a while, and I feel like getting a little political. So what better story to talk about than the time that the mayor of Toronto got caught up in a crack smoking scandal?
There has been a serious accusation from the Toronto Star that I use crack cocaine.
Ah yes, the Mayor Rob Ford crack controversy. Back in 2013, an anonymous tipster would reach out to journalists claiming to have access to video footage showing Toronto's mayor smoking on some crack. While the video wasn't released to the public at the time of the allegation, there were several journalists that had claimed to have watched a video featuring such an occurrence. The public was initially skeptical of the claim, and Mayor Rob Ford would vehemently deny that he ever participated in such a crack rock smoking. But as time goes on and this crazy situation evolves, it starts to look more and more like he actually did it. This is the story of the Mayor Rob Ford crack rock controversy.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
It's the 10 crack commandments.
Getting busted for smoking crack, it's not a good look, but neither is getting your privacy cracked into by hackers, which is why you need the sponsor of today's video, Surfshark. Surfshark is a VPN app that works across all of your devices, protecting your IP and data. With Surfshark, your online browsing activity will be protected from hackers, internet service providers, and advertisers. And not only does Surfshark keep you anonymous online, it allows you to change your server location to practically anywhere in the world. And why exactly is that useful? Simple. Want to watch a show or movie that's currently only on European Netflix, but you live in the US like me? Simply switch to a EU server and watch to your heart's content. And you can also use this strategy to access region-blocked websites. You guys can get Surfshark 83% off with 3 additional months free by clicking my link in the description box and using code WAVY at checkout. Big shout out to Surfshark for sponsoring. So before we get into the crack rock controversy itself, we must first introduce the man that was the centerpiece of all of this.
This is an insult to my constituents to even think about having a homeless shelter in their ward. And you want me to have a public meeting to discuss this? Why don't we have a public lynching?
Meet Rob Ford. Rob Ford started his political career in the year 2000 as a Toronto City Councilman. He's from a family of politicians and the son of the famed Doug Ford Sr. As a member of Toronto City Council, Rob built up a reputation as one of Toronto's top hardline fiscal conservatives. So conservative, in fact, that many of his policy positions often didn't bode too well with the public. You know, like the time where he crudely spoke out against the city for it providing millions of dollars towards AIDS prevention and education campaigns. Or the many attempts of him to try to shut down bike lanes in the city of Toronto.
And what I compare bike lanes to is swimming with the sharks. Sooner or later, you're going to get bitten. Roads are built for buses, cars, and trucks. But my heart bleeds for them when I hear someone gets killed, but it's their own fault at the end of the day.
All of that said, his nitpicky conservatism wasn't the only thing that made him this infamous figure in Toronto. He was truly made infamous in the city thanks to his various city council meeting outbursts that were caught on film, his brutal honesty at times, and his often humorous shenanigans that he would involve himself outside of the political sphere. These are some of my favorite Rob Ford moments. Check them out.
Olivia Gondak, it says that I wanted to eat her pussy. Olivia Gondak. I've never said that in my life tour. I would never do that. I'm happily married. I've got more than enough to eat at home.
All right, gentlemen, take your positions.
Rip the shirts off. Oh, that's all you got. I own this town, man!
Rob Ford was a very divisive figure. You either loved the guy or you hated him. But regardless of if you loved the guy or hated the guy, in 2010, his status as a politician would be dramatically elevated. as in 2010 he won the election for Toronto's mayor seat, despite facing a mountain of scandalous media reporting attempting to smear him. There was definitely a blanket attempt by the media to portray Rob Ford as this closeted party animal and drunk, and whether or not that was really the case, it didn't work. Rob Ford becomes mayor in 2010, and his first few years go by pretty well. He was mostly tolerated by the public and had managed to avoid scandals. However, it wouldn't be long before some old skeletons began to come out of the closet. And as you'll begin to see behind the scenes, Mayor Rob Ford had been up to some pretty sketchy behavior. Let's get into the allegation. On May 16th of 2013, Gawker publishes an article to their website. And in this article, the author claims that there's a video out there somewhere of Mayor Rob Ford smoking crack and getting, quote, fucking high, unquote. The article goes on to explain that an anonymous tipster informed Gawker about this supposed video. And John Cook, the author of the Gawker article, claims to have actually seen this video in person, but was not given a copy by the video owner for personal journalistic use. While the video wasn't included, Gawker was able to provide a blurry image of Ford, showing him hanging out with a few people, and one of these people was a man named Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith had been killed a month prior to this article's publishing in a gangland-style shooting in Toronto, which of course begs the question, why the hell was Rob Ford hanging out with alleged gang members? John Cook's Gawker piece also includes an image of Rob Ford from an unrelated setting, showing readers that he's wearing the same sweatshirt in both photos, sort of confirming that it's the same guy. So here's a story of how he saw this video and what he actually saw in the video. So John Cook gets hit up by this tipster and ends up flying out to Toronto to meet up with this anonymous person. Mr. Cook would then be driven to the Dixon Road apartment complex by this tipster, where another man would enter the vehicle and gives him the option to watch this alleged Rob Ford video. But there are some special conditions for John Cook to follow. He's not allowed to record audio or video of this video, and he can't have a copy of it himself. So he's basically just forced to take notes and remember what he sees. Here's John Cook's description of what he saw on the cell phone recording. The man in the video is Rob Ford. It is well lit, clear. Ford is seated in a room in a house. In one hand is a clear glass pipe, the kind with a big globe and two glass cylinders sticking out of it. In the other hand is a lighter. A slurred voice off camera is ranting about Canadian politics in what sounds like an attempt to goad Ford. Pierre Trudeau was a is the one phrase that lodges in my mind. Ford, pipe in one hand and lighter in the other, is laughing and mildly protesting at the sacrilege. He seems to keep trying to light the pipe but keeps stopping to laugh. He is red-faced and sweaty, heaving with each breath. Finally, he finds his moment and lights up. He inhales. So yeah, if what John Cook was saying in this Gawker article was true, this would definitely be a big deal. I mean, you've got the mayor of Toronto allegedly hanging out with gang-affiliated people smoking crack in the dead of night. That's not really what I would define as good leadership. It was quite the allegation. But eventually, more journalists would come forward claiming to have seen this mythical video, including some reporters at the Toronto Star who had published an article similar to Gawker's.
We were shown a shocking video. The video, which appears to be real, shows Mayor Rob Ford in a room, his shirt open, lolling back in his chair, and appears to be smoking a crack pipe.
After Gawker and the Toronto Star went public with these allegations, Mayor Rob Ford was in the hot seat. People wanted to know what the hell he was doing in the middle of the night smoking crack, allegedly. There was a massive media hunt for the real copy of the mythical crack video, and simultaneously the mayor was being pressed by the media, inquired about these allegations that he would at first deny.
There has been a serious accusation from the Toronto Star that I use crack cocaine. I do not use crack cocaine, nor am I an addict of crack cocaine. As for a video, I cannot comment on a video that I have never seen or does not exist. It is most unfortunate, very unfortunate, that my colleagues and the great people of this city have been exposed to the fact that I have been judged by the media without any evidence.
With Rob denying the allegations, the only way that the media and the public would be able to nail down Rob Ford for this was if they actually got a copy of this legendary crack smoking video. And so what about that video? Well, apparently after the story was reported by Gawker and the other outlets, the tipster's associate who possessed the raw copy of the video became difficult to track down. Apparently the person with this video was involved in gang activity and got spooked by all the attention the story was getting. That said, there was word on the street that he might be willing to let go of it for $150,000. In an attempt to bait this crack video owner out of hiding, Gawker created an Indiegogo campaign with the hopes of raising a war chest of cash that could hopefully lure the man out. Insanely enough, this Indiegogo raised over $200,000. People really wanted to see this video. Despite this massive amount of money, the owner of the video never came forward. He probably got cold feet and didn't want to get wrapped up in a potential police investigation, and the journalist remained empty-handed in regard to the holy grail of political blunders caught on tape.
Anyways, like I said this morning, these allegations are ridiculous. It's another story with respect to the Toronto Star going after me, and that's all I've got to say for now. So,
it's not just the Toronto Star, sir. It's also the Gawker.
So the video is just made up? The video is just a fake?
Mayor, are you saying the video is a fake?
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
While Ford was maintaining his innocence publicly, behind the scenes, stuff was getting shaky. Members of Ford's office staff began to resign, almost as if they knew something the public was unaware of. This coincided with hundreds taking to the street protesting for Mayor Rob Ford to step down amongst the allegations. And one poll published around the time showed that more than half of Toronto residents believed that the crack smoking video was most likely real. And as we get into the month of October, the truth starts to slowly bubble up to the surface when police come forward with an update regarding this crack smoking video. On October 13th, Toronto's chief of police made a public statement saying the police had uncovered a clip which was consistent with media reports, basically saying that they had found the crack video. The owner of the footage wasn't revealed at the time.
On Tuesday of this week, we received information from our computer technology section that in the examination of a hard drive that had been seized on June 13th, they were able to identify a number of files that had been deleted and that they were able to recover those files. As a result, I have been advised that we are now in possession of a recovered digital video file relevant to the investigations that have been conducted. That file contains video images which appear to be those images which were previously reported in the press with respect to events that took place, we believe, at a house on Windsor Road in Etobicoke.
Curiously, police also announced that they had placed a criminal charge on a man named Alexander Lisi. Lisi was an associate of Ford, and this charge was extortion. From what I can tell, this extortion charge was related to Lisi trying to obtain the original crack video from the owner by, quote, using threats of violence or other illegal means, according to the National Post. So I guess the thought by police here was that Lisi was trying to go behind the scenes and get this video from the owner and destroy it to protect Rob Ford. You know, essentially cover his homie's ass.
What's not clear is who, if anyone, ordered Lisi to get the video. Police documents show numerous calls between Lisi and Ford the night the story broke. The same documents show a number of meetings taking place between the two. And in the 3 days covered in the extortion charge, the two exchanged calls 15 times.
Rob Ford himself would receive no charges at this time.
The police
Guys, can you get off my driveway, please?
Sandra Lisi.
Can you get off my driveway,
What
please?
can you tell me?
Can you get off my driveway, please?
What can you tell me?
Can you get off my property, please?
About your involvement?
Can you get off my driveway, please? Can you get off my driveway?
Off your
Can you get
property.
off my property, please?
Don't
Don't get off my property!
I'm leaving!
Can't get off my property!
I'm leaving!
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Get off my property. Thank you.
After a few more weeks of Rob's denial falling on deaf ears, he begins to see the writing on the wall. Finally, on November 5th of 2013, almost 6 months after Gawker and the Toronto Star first reported on the video, Mayor Rob Ford finally comes clean.
You asked me a couple questions, and what were those questions?
Do you smoke crack cocaine?
Exactly. Yes, I have smoked crack cocaine.
When,
But
sir?
no, do I? Am I an addict? No.
When have you
Have I
smoked
tried
crack
it? Probably in one of my drunken stupors, probably approximately about a year ago. I answered your question. You asked the question properly, I'll answer it.
How many
yes,
times?
I've made mistakes. All I can do now is apologize and move on.
Have you
I don't know
ever
what.
been
Oh,
to
guys.
a
Oh, okay. Can I just?
Yes, please.
All I can say is I've made mistakes. And you guys kept referring to alcohol. There was a couple isolated incidents. There's been times when I've been in a drunken stupor. That's why I want to see the tape. I want everyone in the city to see this tape. I'd like to see this tape. I don't even recall there being a tape and a video, and I know that. So I want to see the state that I was in. But that's exactly it. That's a guy. I don't know what else I can say here. Okay, so I wasn't lying. You didn't ask the correct questions. No, I'm not an addict, and no, I do not do drugs.
While he claims to not have seen the video himself and doesn't outright confirm its existence, an admission to doing crack was all the public needed to call this case closed. So yeah, Mayor Rob Ford, he's definitely resigning or getting thrown out of office, right? Well, not really.
So when the mayor of Canada's biggest city called a press conference late Tuesday, many speculated he was about to resign.
I love my job.
They were wrong.
I apologize. And I'm so sorry.
Mayor Rob Ford resisted the call for his resignation, despite public opinion being against him and an almost unanimous vote by Toronto City Council stripping him of some of his powers. He never resigned, he never had charges pressed against him by police, nothing. And as far as him looking inward and making the decision to resign himself, well, I guess Rob Ford didn't think him getting caught smoking crack and denying it for months on end was a worthy reason for him to step down, plain and simple. And yeah, even if you think smoking crack isn't necessarily a bad thing in and of itself, which, denying it for such a long period of time definitely calls your credibility or trustworthiness into question. That's just my opinion though. While Ford never resigned, he would eventually decide to take a short sabbatical leave from office to placate the public and also resolve issues in his personal life. He would return to serve the remainder of his term, reputation tarnished and his constituents ever untrusting of the former crack-smoking mayor. Ford's full term as Toronto City Mayor officially ended November 30th of 2014. Before this date, he had briefly ran a re-election campaign, but suddenly withdrew his candidacy in September, after discovering that he had a cancerous tumor in his abdomen that would require extensive medical care. Rob Ford had a rare, fast-growing cancerous tumor called a pleomorphic liposarcoma. He battled with this cancer for almost 2 years, but after chemotherapy proved ineffective, Rob Ford unfortunately passed away in March of 2016. Months later, in a poorly timed update, there would be a new development in the legendary crack-smoking video that featured the man who had just recently passed. In August of 2016, it would be revealed that the charges placed on Lisi, Ford's associate who had been charged with extortion, well, those charges in the case against him had been dismissed. After Alexander Lisi's case was dismissed, it was also revealed who was the original filmer of the video. That was a man named Mohammed Siad. Siad never got paid for his video and was actually arrested sometime after the scandal and was hit with an unrelated gun and drug charge, as Siad was allegedly involved in gang-related activities, particularly in relation to the Dixon City Bloods. In 2015, Siad was sentenced to 8 years in prison. This whole scandal and the Rob Ford crack video, it really cursed all who encountered it. It caused great distrust amongst the people of Toronto and their leadership. The man who filmed it was eventually arrested and imprisoned, and of course, Rob himself passed away in the years following the scandal in this video. It's honestly a pretty tragic story, and I find myself conflicted in regards to takeaways. Ford wasn't being completely honest with the public, and he was obfuscating the reality of what was going on for as long as possible, which is totally a poor plan of action and just is unacceptable when you're in a position of leadership. That said though, I don't think the act itself, him smoking crack, necessarily makes him a bad or evil person by any means. Everyone fucks up. It's unfortunate that this mistake caused so much discord for the city of Toronto though, and that the citizens were forced to deal with such incompetence. That said, I think if Rob Ford was still alive today, folks would probably come to forgive him and recognize the human error, maybe even remember the event candidly. But since Rob is no longer with us, his story will likely be remembered by its final chapter, the crack-smoking rock bottom. And that, my friends, was the story of the Rob Ford crack rock controversy. Let me know what you thought about this video down below in the comments section. Make sure you slap a like and ring that notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I want to give a major shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys. Wavy Web Surf out. Peace.